Hello, and welcome to that Eurovision podcast, Eurovision with a Slice of Life. My name is Rory, and I'm doing very well today. I am so excited for this podcast because I don't think this has ever happened before in my life, so I'm just feeling very, very excited. And joining me,
Jazzi, I am also very excited for this podcast, something I've never done before, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
And hi, it's Rosie, and I am also very excited. And today it's been a day of mad thunderstorms where I am. So every time I've been looking out of the window and I've been seeing everything, I've just been thinking thunder and lightning, it's getting exciting. That's just been in my head all day. So I think that sums it up.
Tim here. As Rosie says, I've had this thunder and lightning earlier on. And no, I did not get excited about that. As Suri would say, storms will last forever, and it went. So, bright and sunny day where I am, and I'm kind of excited.
Okay. So we're very excited about this episode because we are going to be talking about a tiny, tiny little country in the middle of, stuck in between France and Spain. It's Andorra. And with this, we have a fantastic guest. I can't believe we even have managed to get this to happen. But we have Eurovision 2009 entrant, Susanne Georgi. Welcome to the podcast.
Yay, thank you so much. And thank you so much for talking with me.
Thank you so much for coming on. Honestly, when I think back to 2009, I just think how amazing was 2009, like as a contest, but also like the songs as well, and like of course, like you were definitely in that great song quality, and you deserve so much better.
Oh, thank you.
Oh dear. So the reason why we have you on today is just because obviously you were campaigning to try and get Andorra back into Eurovision after an 11-year break. So just kind of like what got you so enthralled into trying to get Andorra back into the contest?
Well, I think first of all, because we're so small, and I think the small countries really need to be there, to make a statement that we also exist, whether how we can do it as good as we can. And some years are better, some years are not, for all countries, I think. But obviously it's a bit harder for a smaller country. But also because the year, as you know, my year was the last year Andorra was in the Eurovision, and I was told that there was no money. Basically, I went for free, and it was, and that's fine. I mean, that that doesn't matter to me. But it was very hard to see how there was no money to do anything out of the ordinary. I mean, out of the ordinary. I wanted to make it a bit more extraordinary, and I couldn't. But we tried to do it as good as we could. And I remember I was told on the right there that if you don't pass to the final, we're not going back. And I think that was kind of harsh, as an artist and for the whole team, really, what a pressure to put on our shoulders, because it's not only about getting to the final, it's about being there, I think. So that's sort of one of the reasons that made me go like, okay, well, if anybody needs to get this back, it has to be me, because I sort of had it on my shoulders, and I know it's not my fault, but it's just there,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've become one of the biggest sort of ambassadors for Andorra, especially at the moment with Eurovision and everything. Is Eurovision still a popular show in Andorra? Like, do people still watch it?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I've sort of been fighting for this for the last 2-3 years, and I was trying to get the reaction from people, and like I say, I always move in, with creative people, positive people, and they all like, yes, you have to do this. But I was like, what about the butcher, or what about the fireman, or what about just normal people in Andorra? What do they think, Yeah. And when I actually made this campaign public, like a good month ago, I made it public saying I have the money to get there. I realized how many people from Andorra actually want this. And that was just so moving. It was so touching to me, because I didn't really know that at that point. I didn't know if it was just my fight with all the Eurovision fans, But I realized it was actually also the town, sort of speak. They really wanted it as well.
Oh, it's so lovely to hear that, because you know, when you hear about sort of small micro states like, you know, Andorra and San Marino, and you'd think, oh, like a country like them would never really do well in the contest, so that like people don't really care about it. It actually is really nice to hear that, you know, there's actually still a lot of popularity for the contest. Maybe if it was such a bad run of results, people would maybe think, oh, we don't need that. But the fact that there's still so much passion, I think that's really amazing.
I think so too. That means everything.
Oh, definitely, yeah. So, obviously, like you managed to get all of the money together and everything, and then in the past couple of weeks, we've seen RTVA, the Andorran broadcasters, say that they can't participate. So, like, what do you know what the progress is at the moment for what the situation is?
Yeah, I'm in close relationships a little bit with everyone, also the TV director, and he keeps stating to me, "Listen up, we'll do whatever the government tells us to do because the TV station is owned by the government." So in that aspect, they can't really say anything yet. So I think they'll just, to be on the safe side, they just say, "For now, we're not going," which is, you know, what has been the last 11 years anyway. So they're not saying anything that's not right. But I am right now, the process is, I mean, I started out they changed the government little 7-8 months ago.
Okay.
And as soon as we got a new government, I really went pushing again, because it works like this every 4 years, well, in every country, no, but if you have one government that's not agreeing on this, then it's very hard to actually get something through, you know. And the whole government changed, and I love the government we have now. They're young, it's just very, very, I feel they're very open to new things. So I've had several meetings with several ministers, prime minister as well.
Oh, wow.
two
Wow.
times, yeah.
That is
And he's very, very nice, and I knew him from before. I mean, Andorra is quite small, you know. But he's very, at least I'm being listened to, which is a big, huge step, you know. The only thing that was every time was, we don't have the money, and you know, I can get that. So at the end, I was like, okay, if you have a problem, you need to solve that. So I thought, if nobody else will go out and find the money, then we're never gonna get there. So I just I started my search. I had a lot of help from San Marino's head of delegation, because he is very like, we need to help each other with the little ones. So I had him on the sideline through all of this adventure. And together we managed to actually find a sponsor and present it to the government. And then in the middle, the COVID came, you know, so that was like a bit of a stop in the journey. But like I say, we haven't had a no yet. I had another meeting last week with the Minister of Culture. So I mean, we keep moving. People are super positive, but I think it's a question of them getting their internal pieces together to actually say, yes, let's go for this. But I kept saying, listen, you have until July, August, September is the deadline. So, you know, we need some time to figure out what we want to do. But I'm fairly positive. Some days I wake up really annoyed that I feel, come on, it's so simple. It's paid for. What is there to think about, you know? And other days I wake up really, really happy, thinking, yes, maybe today they will call, you know? So it's right there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
definitely feels like progress is happening. So that's like an amazing thing.
I think so. I think that, like I say, nobody's done anything for the last 11 years, and finally something is happening, you know. And I honestly think a lot of musicians, songwriters, singers have wanted this, and they tell me that they want this. Especially now, I can see them all writing to me like, when can we write a song, or when can we send in a song, you know? And I'm all like, wait, we need to see what happens, you know. But I can see that they wanted this to happen. I honestly just think that people haven't had the courage to just take up this fight and talk to all these people. And it's a lot of work. I can tell you that it is a lot of work. And I've had sleepless night over this. But you know, if at the end I can see a good result, then that will be worth it, you know.
It would be really worth it. I mean, given the fact you've had so much help from other countries as well, like, I think there has to be a big collective sort of push to get Andorra back, because I don't know if it's the same in Andorra, but especially within the Eurovision community, everyone misses Andorra.
Yeah,
I think,
see tweets about it every single day.
yeah,
like
like
everyone's like, Andorra, come back.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that. You see that, and I really noticed this now. I did not know this. I honestly did not know this. I have made, and that's why I'm basically saying yes to all the interviews I can, regardless how big or small the pages are, whatever, because I really, really just feel this overwhelming feedback from so many different countries. You wouldn't believe it, and it's like, wow, I can really see that is not only me, and that the fact that people want to talk to me about this and want to help me just get this campaign out there. I sometimes feel like, these movies, the real life movies where they just fight and they keep fighting and
yeah.
fighting. And then at the end, Andorra will come to the Eurovision and they will win. That kind of movie. I just really see it.
If we say it, it will happen. We speak things into existence, definitely.
Exactly. Totally.
Sorry,
go
on.
Ignore that 2019 was a great year for the microstates, with San Marino getting a qualification.
I know.
And they also didn't finish in the bottom 5 either in the final. So
I know, it was amazing. I was jumping up and down, I tell you. I was like, Alessandro, the head of relegation, I was like, oh my God, this is insane, And that just proves you have to keep going.
Very well with the televote, so it was a small victory for the microstates, and
that's it.
It shows there's definitely room for them in Eurovision. So,
Plus, I think that the fact that you guys have been gone for 11 years, I think that there has been time to reflect and also find out where you went wrong previously and maybe try and right a wrong, because that's what a few countries have done recently, where they've returned and they've somehow managed to turn their fortunes around and simply just qualify. So it is possible.
Yeah.
It's right there.
I think you're absolutely right, because I also think sometimes the power of return, like Italy, they were gone for so long, and when they came back, it was like, whoa, you know what I mean? I think people are just expecting that. It's like they're just giving it so much more listen than they would to any other song that's there every year. I know it's funny, but that's also one of my selling points for the government. The power of returning is very, very, very big.
Yeah, I mean, like if you look at like Italy, like how you said, but also like Czech Republic as well. Like beforehand, they were kind of not really seen to be a very good country in terms of its results, and then when they came back, they've gone on to become one of the most sort of expected countries in the contest. So there's a lot of like opportunity to kind of rise, and then you can get that qualification that has been so desperately wanted.
Totally.
And obviously you have Bulgaria too, which prior to withdrawing, I don't think it had many successful results. And then they came back and they've had like 2 top 5s.
I know.
In 2016 and 2017.
And made the junior Eurovision. I mean, it's, you can do it. And that's also one of the things I said the other day to the Minister of Culture. I said, look, my main goal is to get us back in the Eurovision. And my second main goal is to get the Euro Junior to Andorra. I mean, I think we'll be a perfect candidate for that as well, So, you never know.
It's really exciting. And one thing that I was quite interested in is that, so it's been since 2009 that you were last there. And obviously the contest has changed quite a lot in those 11 years. So is there anything that you would really want to sort of push for, or really want to sort of get across in anything that you did if you were to return?
I mean, I think so, yes, because it has become, I think it has changed a lot in a way, even since I was there, which is 11, 12 years ago next year. Just the promotion side of it beforehand. And that's at least I think something Andorra could really, really fight for, because we didn't, at least my year, there wasn't any money for promotion. So I went to Denmark and did a week of promotion out of my own money. We did some in Spain that was, well, you can't even call that promotion. It was a few radios and that was it. And that was what really frustrated me, because I was like, every time I release a CD, I don't release a CD and just release it, because who's going to know that it's there in the market? You have to release it with a lot of hard work. You have to do promo in all these countries. You have to make sure that the record label or whoever it is will back up, get sure that you have the backup from the radios, from the TV station. It's not just releasing a song, you know? And Eurovision has become so much more than it was 20 years ago. We have all the online aspect as well. So you can do thousands of interviews if you have to. I mean, there's and trust me, if this is happening and if I will become the head of delegation, I will spam people so much, all these web pages and all these podcasts and everything. You have to be in everything, you know what I mean? And that is the work I think we may have done wrong the other years. We need to up our game.
It's fascinating talking about sort of how the fan community's changed as well, because there's this whole new level of interactivity, all these podcasts, all these websites. I mean, we exist now. And then there's such a huge sphere of fan content that is being put out there that is, I imagine, something that's really, really different from what was there originally. So it's really fascinating to see how the engagement with that is changing the contest more broadly.
Yeah, it's a much bigger world now, isn't it?
Yeah, like especially with like social media now. Like it was around in 2009, but it's definitely got a lot bigger and a lot easier to promote your platform on social media since 2009.
And the funny thing is about social media, the other day, a Dutch guy, I think it was a webpage, I can't remember what it's called now, but he's like, is it okay I do a poll and get people to vote for Andorra? No, sure. And in like less than 24 hours, we had like, I think it was 1,200 votes for Andorra to go back to Eurovision. And I was like, wow, it comes all over. And in less than 24 hours, we have this reaction, you know? So yeah, social media really is doing a lot of work for me in this case and for us.
It's really handy as well because there's obviously that petition that's going around as well to get Andorra back into the contest. I think last time I checked it, there's nearly 1,500 signatures.
Wow.
So, and that's all across the world as well. So it's showing that there's everyone wants Andorra back in the contest. So hopefully, fingers crossed, RTVA can sort of listen because everyone misses them, and hopefully it can sort of almost bring back other countries that we might not have seen in a long time, like Monaco or Luxembourg or even Slovakia. Fingers crossed. Like this could be the return of all of these other countries that.
And it's weird because if you think of it, it doesn't make any sense. Monaco, Luxembourg, Liechtenstein, Andorra, all countries that are quite wealthy, like tax-free countries, and you're like, you have all this money. Why don't you do something positive with it? You know what I mean? It's not all about driving around in fancy cars and have a big yard. You know what I mean? It really isn't. So I think it's about getting people together as a nation, you know? Why aren't people prouder of their countries? Why does it have to be me, a Danish girl who's lived here for 25 years? I feel extremely Andorran, much more than Danish at this point. But why does it have to be me who needs to go and knock on all the politicians' door? Why can't nobody else actually see that this is a huge thing for the country? This is what I don't get, not just in Andorra, but in the other small countries as well.
Yeah, I mean, well, looking at how like other countries do it, you have like in San Marino, we have Valentina Monetta, who has like become so synonymous with San Marino. Like you can't mention San Marino without thinking of her. You know, you will be the new Valentina Monetta. I can see it. But just kind of even just thinking back to sort of your Eurovision experience in Moscow, how was that now? Like looking back on it, do you like still speak to like any of the sort of contestants at the time, or are you kind of carrying on?
No, I mean I remember at that point we added each other on Facebook, and you sort of follow the other people's journey. It was a fun time. It was a great time. I mean, all the delegation from Denmark, I knew them all, the songwriters, the singers, everything. So that was quite fun, actually. We had a night out with them as well. But really what you just see is just the 2 songs before you and the 2 songs after you. And at the same time, you're so much into your work as an artist that you know, I'm known to be a party girl. I like to have a few drinks and party and stuff, you know. But when the game is on, when it's when it's time to be real, I don't do that. So I think the most, and actually that's something I treasure very, very much. I think the most contact you have that I had was with the Eurofans. I think a lot of Eurofans parties, just to really go out and see the fans and get that vibe that was just amazing to me, because I've never been to the Eurovision even, you know. So that was just a whole new world. It was like walking into Disneyland for the first time, you know. And then after that, I bet you guys, like, you go once, and I have it that way with Disneyland as well. You want to come back the next year. You have to come. You don't want to miss that thing, you know. It's a little bit that.
I see. I'm really wishing now that I had the chance to go to Moscow while I had a chance, because that would have been just an amazing experience as well. Just getting to like meet like artists such as yourself that like were so interested and in hearing about like Eurofan stories and things like that. I think it's really admirable. But yeah, just kind of even just thinking like about Andorra, like what are some of your favorite sort of entries from Andorra, including your own if you want to?
No, I'll be humble. I'll leave my own out. I think, and I've said that also in other interviews, I really do think we grew with the task. I think maybe the first year was a little bit confusing with this. There was a whole lot of things going on stage. I didn't really understand the song and the setup. But I was happy to see that over the years things got much better, I think. And I don't want to criticize nobody, because really, again, small country, only a short amount of years. In anything, you have to, it's like a football team, a basketball team, whatever, you have to give people time to develop, not only the people on stage, but and really you realize that most of the work that is done when it comes down to budgeting, stage setup, it's really the team behind the artist that does all that. I do think, however, Anonymous was a wonderful year. There's these young lads, and they were just there to have fun, and that I think that must be my favorite song, to be honest.
Oh, it was a very good song. Jazzi was actually talking about it a couple of weeks back on our one of our other podcasts, which you can listen to on Spotify.
I think this 2007, it was just a very, very strong year, and there was one semi-final with 28 songs, albeit they did change it the following year. I feel, had that not been the case, like with the 28 songs semi-final, I do think we would have seen Andorra in the final in 2007.
I think so.
Yeah,
I really thought so too, and I was quite surprised that didn't go through. And I think after that year, that was such a big blow for so many people, because the whole country, you would see Anonymous everywhere, all over town and the country, you know, people really were believing in this one, you know, and then it didn't happen, and that was a big blow.
I think especially in the grand final, where's Andorra?
Yeah, there's that big sign where it's like, where's Andorra?
I know, and it's so funny. Everybody actually still say that. Where's Andorra? And I was like, where are we?
Like, it's one of those known qualifications that has just kind of stuck with the Euro fandom, I feel, as one that was really undeserved and should have made it through.
Yeah, definitely.
And again, we're talking about a time where there were only televotes. And I do think, and I do believe, and that's something I've said since I was a little girl. I was like, and that's just says something about my mind as a singer, you know, it's like, how come all these people out in the world, I think it's wonderful. Everybody can have a music, but it would be nice also to have some qualified people to actually say, this sounds like shit, or this is actually really good, you know?
Yeah.
You know, honestly, you know, with no filter, there have to be this is a big professional show, and I am a big fan of the jury votes. I must say that, and it changes everything, doesn't it? It changed the game last year for the Sweden and Holland. I mean,
Oh, it was such a dramatic as well. And then with North Macedonia coming out of nowhere when nobody thought they were actually going to do that well,
Yeah.
and then they ended up winning the whole thing. It's crazy.
Nerve-wracking. It was nerve-wracking, like, and I think that adds something to it as well, you know?
Mhm.
Oh, definitely. That extra added a little bit of drama, and then it gives the Euro fans just something just to chew on for so long. Like,
Yeah.
how could Portugal give 12 points to the Netherlands or something? It's like, how could they?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh dear.
I'm just gonna say it again. I'm still not over you not qualifying because you were you're as much as I love Anonymous. Like I think when I was a kid, it was the type of like nostalgia kind of song
Oh.
that kind of like reminded me a bit of my childhood and just like riding in the car and just like singing along. And that's what I really liked about your entry. And when I found out, oh, this didn't actually make the final. Okay.
Oh, that's so nice. It's funny that you say that. I don't know, but everybody that I talk to, they all say that the 2009 year was quite big for them on nostalgic. I don't know why, but I don't know if it's every year, but all of and a lot of people say that it means something to, and for me that's a much better, I mean that's a much bigger reward than actually getting to the final, because I love my song as much as I did the day before the final or the day after or the semi-final or the day after, you know. This is still my song. I co-wrote it with my sister and some other people. So, you know, the most rewarding thing is when you hear stories like that, to be honest. So that makes me really happy.
Oh, thank you.
So nice. I feel like I'm trying not to sound like a broken record here, so I'm sort of going to try and go slightly left field, but with the very strong caveat that I would be very, very highly ranking both you and Anonymous as well. The other one, when I was re-listening to the entries earlier, that really stood out for me was 2005, La Mirada Interior. My Catalan is non-existent, so I may have butchered that pronunciation, but I really like it. Sort of felt when I listened to it, it reminded me of another song that a lot of fans have not gotten over the non-qualification of, and that was Hore Chroni from Slovakia in 2010. It just had a really similar sort of vibe to me. That sort of mystical forest type imagery I thought was really beautiful, and really enjoyed the song, both because I made that connection to it and also just because the song is great.
Yeah, it is a great song, and actually it is a song that on me personally it grew. I remember the first time I heard it, it's like, oh God, they don't have a chance. And that's really cool. But as a songwriter and a composer and a singer, that was the first thing I thought. And then as I heard on, I really grew on me. I was like, oh, what a good song. But that's the problem with Eurovision, you know, at least back then when you couldn't promote or you weren't allowed to actually play it before. It was hard. You can't, you know, it's hard to go to Eurovision with a song that grows on you because you had the 3-minute window and that's it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I also feel like I need to kind of just give a quick little shout out to Gisela, because I really liked Casanova as well in 2008. And it's so strange to watch that back now, because I don't know if any of you had seen, but actually she was on the Oscars not only a couple of months ago, because she was performing as the European Spanish version of Elsa.
True.
Alongside Aurora and Idina Menzel. So it's so nice to sort of see that kind of progression as an artist. But even just as a song, like as Casanova as a song, it was incredibly underrated. And
absolutely right.
As with the rest of Andorra's entries, incredibly underrated. But hopefully things will change when they come back.
Yeah, for sure. I think you're right. Just on that note with Gisela, I think you're right. She was extremely professional. You could just see on stage her performance, her appearance. She knew what she was doing. And that's also a big plus, you know. She weren't fiddling around, you know what I mean? It was just very secure. I think the song for that time maybe had been a bit outdated. I heard it more like an 80s Eurovision song, to be honest. You know, like,
yeah.
It was very Eurovision-y, but I just think it was just a century too late in a way, you know. But I think the performance was excellent. I loved her outfit. I know she was, you know, I think they told it she was the winner of the worst dressed or
The
something
worst
like that.
Drex, the Barbara
Yeah.
Drex.
But I actually totally loved it with the whole thing going on because I'm very, you know, the more the merrier. Just bring it on, you know. So it is true. It was quite underrated. But you know, I think she did a great job. I think maybe the song was a bit outdated. It was a good song, but it would have worked 10 years earlier, I think. Definitely.
Definitely, yeah.
Mm.
I think if they had like more sort of modern productions like how we have now, I think like there would be such a change in Andorra's fortunes. I can see like as someone who is very much sort of rooted in the Andorran music scene at the moment, like are there any sort of artists at the moment who you would sort of recommend to go to Eurovision in the future if Andorra were to go?
I have a few in my hands, yes.
Okay. Do you want
But
to maybe some divulge?
Well, the thing is, I really can't because I have to be very loyal, and I have to. I mean, I know my mission definitely will be, regardless if we do it the sponsor way or without. I mean, I definitely hope we do it with the sponsor we have because they have some great visions, and one of our visions is definitely to be able to open up, just welcome anyone, songwriters, singers from all over. However, I will be fighting for Andorra to have a percentage of singers from Andorra, songwriters from Andorra, so it will become a fair game sort of thing. However, I do believe Eurovision is all about the song. We have to get the song right, you know.
Definitely.
So I don't care if we have to listen to 4,000 songs. It's got to be there somewhere. The right one for our country has to be there. And coming to, I mean, for the singers, I mean, I have an academy with almost 100 students, and I know there's more academies in Andorra. We all talk together and communicate, and I just know there's so much talent in Andorra, which is really weird because we are so small. So that's one of the least of my worries, to be honest, is to get a good singer.
Yeah, it's just because you'd imagine that, you know, sometimes there are the countries that like, yes, it has to be like and a singer from that country. Like, for example, like Ukraine has to have a Ukrainian singer or Russia has to have a Russian singer. But having that sort of international way opens you up to a lot of potential. Like, look at Switzerland picking Celine Dion and then winning. So, like, there's so many different ways that you can go about it.
That's my way of thinking anyways. And I think on the meetings we've had, we've also been very, I mean, Andorra, I think a lot of people don't know this. We are a whole wave of different nationalities here. There's so many different nationalities in Andorra. So I think we would be the perfect country to actually go in and put a song that's in Catalan, English, French, for instance, with one Andorran singer, one from England, and one from, I don't know, Germany. No, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it does matter, but we also spent money to get the best basketball player from America to be on the good basketball team we have now. We have a very strong basketball team in Andorra. But why? Because we've invested so much money and time to get the players from outside. So Eurovision for me is no different whatsoever. This is a competition. At the end of the day, we have to get there. We have to win.
Exactly. You've just got the exact mindset that is just there for the win, and I love that. I don't know if this is just maybe just a me question that I just really wanted to ask ever since I've noticed it. Looking back at 2007, where you were the Danish spokesperson, what's it like being sort of the spokesperson and then being on the other side of the camera, like on the stage, like complete, like, is it, I don't think it's probably makes much difference, but it's always something that I always wonder, like, what's it like?
No, huge difference. You would not believe it. I have decided many years ago that I don't want to get nervous. You can prepare your mind for that. So I've decided many years ago, if I have to be nervous going on stage, it's not my thing. I don't want to do it anymore because I had some bad experiences and I was like, no, that's it. Then you stop. And I wasn't, going to stop my career, obviously. So I decided with a lot of mind work that I was never going to become nervous again in my life. And I've managed more or less that. I mean, you can have that little excitement, but nerves where you actually can't move your legs, not happening,
Yeah.
And I will admit to you that when I had to read the points, it was horrible. I've never been so nervous in my life, ever.
Really?
Insane. insane. Because I don't control that. If I have to go on stage, everything is what camera there, what second there. I have everything planned out. But to go on and say some points that I don't really know literally before the second I get that note in my hand and the camera's on, that's when I know what I have to say,
Oh.
It was nerve-wracking. It was horrible.
Was reading points almost more nerve-wracking than performing?
Oh, much more. And I mean, afterwards, I was like, oh God, that was fun, But at the moment, I was really, 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 really nervous.
You wouldn't think that it would be so like nerve-wracking, because you just think it would just be, just doing a little bit of reading, but like when it's so like important to like get one country, like imagine if you get like one country wrong and then they tell you to like start all over again.
Exactly. Can you imagine that? That was exactly my thoughts. Like, what? Whoa, I have so much in my hands right now, And on top of that, they gave me this list, official English for every country. This can only last so and so long. You cannot say anything to the hostess except from hey and bye. You cannot sing. You cannot, because I suppose every country, they just sit there and baffle with it, and go on and on and on.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I had the Danish national TV saying, you have to say something funny. You cannot just, I was like, oh my God, you're killing me here, Yeah.
So, it's so lovely though, just seeing like the sort of progression from spokesperson to performer and then now to activist. Like it's just a natural progression of things.
Yeah, we're three different people here. I have so much split personalities,
I swear, when Andorra does come back, you'll have to be that the spokesperson again, and you'll just have to be like, "Molt bonanites del Principal d'Andorra."
Yeah. I mean, whatever they make me do, I'll fight. I'll fight to become someone that can change things for the better. That's what I like to be.
Definitely, and I think you're definitely doing it. I think with the amount of support that I've seen, not only just like amongst the Euro fandom, but even just talking about Andorra, like there's not many people who know where Andorra even is. So it's really nice to sort of have that sort of promo campaign, not only just for the country, but also for the music scene, and then just getting that sort of international sort of vibe going, like, Andorra, that's a great country,
Yeah. People need to know about us, and people need to see, to come and visit us, because it is magical. I keep saying, and people are like, what is it about Andorra that's so special? It just is magical. And it's just something you can't see until you actually go there and smell it and see it. When you go somewhere and you remember the smell. The first time I went to London, I was 13 with my grandma. We went, and I never forget that smell. It was just special. And every time I go back, and we went on the tube the whole time, and it stank, but still was just special. I just think sometimes there's just something about every country, and Andorra just really, really, really is so peaceful. Like, we have no homeless people at all. The violence rate is super low. It's just such a secure country, and such a lovely place to be. And I I'm an ambassador for that. It's like, whoa, people need to know that this exists.
Oh, I'd love
to take a second job at the Andorran Tourist Board.
I know. They should,
because you're selling it to me.
Telling people, come to Andorra.
Well, actually, I'm planning on doing a big sort of interrail tour, and I'm starting it off in Barcelona, and I'm deliberately going out of my way to go to Andorra for about like 3 or 4 days. So I'm totally like, I'm going to go shop till I drop, because I hear prices are very cheap. So I'm very happy.
We have everything. People like, it's so small, but we have everything. We have a long, super long walking street where there's just shops on every corner. The most amazing restaurants you can find. We have Michelin stars restaurant. We have everything. You can go up to the mountain where it's quiet, and you can just be you. Nobody bothers you. We have a lot of famous people living here that just walk on the street and they don't get bothered. It's that kind of vibe, you know. So definitely, yeah, let me know when you come. I'll show you around.
Oh, please do. I will take you up on that for sure.
Of course.
That's fantastic. Oh dear. But just sort of wrapping things up here, like is there any sort of like anything that we can sort of do to try and get Andorra back on our front? Like is there anything that we can say to try and push them back?
Oh, you're so sweet. You know, honestly, what you're doing just right now, just the fact that you take out the time and reach out to me, that just means everything, because I really sort of feel that it's almost like a campaign, like an election or something, you know. But you know, people are like, but why do you spend all this time on this? Because honestly, if I don't do an interview a day, or at least every 2 days, I do interviews. And at the end of the day, my mom was like, isn't it tiring? I was like, yeah, but you know what? I actually enjoy it, because every single person that believes in this with me, it just makes me even believing this stronger, you know. And that's already doing a lot for me. That is already doing a lot, you know, on the social media, just that people talk about it. That's everything.
Yeah. And I think with the amount of sort of support that you've been getting, like on social media, and the amount of work that you've been doing in Andorra, I think, you know, it has to be commended that if Andorra does not come back at some point within the next 5 years, I think there's definitely something going on here. I think there's a big conspiracy.
No, but as long as I live, you know, as long as I live, I'm telling to all the ministers I have meeting to, when I finish the meeting, I tell them all, Eurovision will come back. I will make sure of that. I don't know if it's this year or in 10 years from now. The question is, do you want to be on my team or not? And I say to all of them. So it's like, do you want to create history? Do you want to be with me when we do it? Do you want to stand next to me in the picture when we win the Eurovision? You see, that's really what I think. This is what I think. And the more people don't believe in it, the more people like, you know, are you going to make this happen? The more I'm like, oh, you watch me, you know? Because I don't think they don't know what they're up against here. I might live in Andorra and in the mountains, but I am a Viking, so.
I was just say, just to round things up, I think what Rory was trying to say, is there anything you want to say, Rosie and Jazzi, well, about Andorra, basically, and wanting them back?
I feel like Andorra is just such a fantastic sort of trailblazer in terms of, if we can get Andorra back, then think of what we can do for the other microstates as well. And I am such a huge supporter of having microstates in Eurovision, because it's so exciting to see this little bit of culture and this little bit of the world that doesn't usually get to be on show. And there's such fascinating music coming out of them. And I'd be so excited for Andorra to come back, and then hopefully for some more people to come back as well, have Monaco back and everything. I think that would be amazing. So thank you so much for all of the work that you're doing. It's so great.
Like you, Jazzi?
Like, I feel like I just want to see like as many countries in Eurovision as we can possibly get in, and I feel like it's people like you and like who push for that, and like I feel like perseverance is like really, really important in getting countries to come back, or even to debut, like Liechtenstein. Like we just need like and these microstates are important in Eurovision, and as San Marino have proved, they can do well now, because I feel like in this day and age in Eurovision, it's the song that's important. I feel like politics is having like less of an influence. So
definitely,
like these microstates can be allowed to do well if they have the right song, and I feel like with somebody like you in charge, I feel like that could really happen. So
oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I hope
this is a campaign to get Susanne Georgi to be the Andorran head of delegation. Right now, this is where we start the campaign.
Because I was saying you didn't need to do this, and the fact that you're still invested in Eurovision, even though you've gone and participated already, and the fact that you're still taking your time and you still want your country to succeed, even though you didn't get Andorra to the final, then at least you're trying to get them back and hopefully get them on the right path. And hopefully that you are successful at the end. All the Eurovision fans are right behind you.
Oh, thank you. And I really do feel that. And as soon as, whenever this is going to happen, as soon as it happens, I do want to make a big party in Andorra, a Eurovision party for all of you guys, for all the fans who helped
We
me.
will be there.
Awesome. And I really think that's also necessary for Andorra. Like, as soon as we have a winner, as soon as we have a song, if this happens and whenever it happens, I really want to promote Andorra and say, listen up, we make a huge concert with so and so many artists from the Eurovision and just a big party and really just celebrate it with all of you guys. Because really, if this is happening, it is also because of all of you. It's not just me, you know, there's so many more people behind, and it's definitely the fans. Because if I didn't have the push from you guys, I don't think I would be doing this, you know. And a lot of people think I'm doing this to sing, but that's actually not on my list at all right now. I don't want to sing. I don't need to. I mean, I have a lot of good songs, but I don't have the urge right now to have my song in the Eurovision. I'm not saying in 5 years from now, you know, I'd love to go back on that stage. But right now, my priority would be really just to fighting to get us there the right way.
So yes, that brings us to the end of this episode of that Eurovision podcast. I'd once again love to thank Susanne for coming and just bringing so much information and, you know, so much happiness and joy to this podcast, because, you know, it's not every day that you get to speak to an actual Eurovision participant. So thank you so much, Susanne, for coming on and just speaking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And also really like to thank Jazzi, Rosie and Tim as well for coming along this fantastic journey. And yeah, in the next couple of weeks, we'll be carrying on with our sort of country retrospectives and some year perspectives as well. So please do kind of stay tuned for that. In the meantime, please do follow us on all of our social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at That Euro Podcast, and we're also on Spotify as well. So if you want to, you can just get notified there, so you know whenever a new episode comes out. And yeah, I think you know what, it's time for us to get a life, because that's what Susanne is saying to us. But we would rather die if she's not in it with us.
I love you guys. You're the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.